Question 1. Which statement best describes the primary function of Service Control Policies, SCPs, in AWS Organizations? Option A. SCPs grant permissions to IAM users and roles across all accounts in an organizational unit, OU. Option B. SCPs define the maximum available permissions for accounts, or OUs, acting as guardrails that restrict actions for all identities, including the root user. Option C. SCPs are used to automate the provisioning of new AWS accounts within an organization. Option D. SCPs provide a centralized billing mechanism for all member accounts. The correct answer is SCPs define the maximum available permissions for accounts, or OUs, acting as guardrails that restrict actions for all identities, including the root user. Here's the explanation. SCPs are powerful policy types that define the maximum available permissions for accounts, or OUs. They act as guardrails, setting permission boundaries and applying to all users and roles within the affected accounts, including the root user. SCPs never grant permissions. They only restrict them. Question 2. A company wants to prevent any EC2 instances larger than M5 extra large from being launched in their Development Organizational Unit, OU, to control costs. Which AWS Organizations feature should they use? Option A. AWS IAM policies attached to individual EC2 instances. Option B. An AWS config rule to detect non-compliant instances. Option C. A service control policy, SCP, attached to the development OU that denies the EC2 run instances action for larger instance types. Option D. AWS budgets to set spending limits for the development OU. The correct answer is a service control policy, SCP, attached to the development OU that denies the EC2 run instances action for larger instance types. Here's the explanation. SCPs are ideal for enforcing preventative controls across OUs or accounts. An SCP can be written to explicitly deny the EC2 run instances action when specific instance types, like M5.24 extra large, are requested, ensuring that no user or role in the development OU can launch them. IAM policies are for granting permissions within an account, and config rules are for auditing times an action has occurred. Question 3. Which of the following is a key benefit of consolidated billing within AWS Organizations? Option A. It allows member accounts to pay their own AWS bills directly to AWS. Option B. It enables the management account to access all resources in member accounts without additional IAM roles. Option C. It centralizes the billing for all accounts into a single bill, often leading to cost savings through aggregated usage discounts. Option D. It automatically applies service control policies, SCPs, to all member accounts without needing all features mode. The correct answer is, quote, it centralizes the billing for all accounts into a single bill, often leading to cost savings through aggregated usage discounts. Here's the explanation. Consolidated billing centralizes the billing for all accounts in your organization into a single bill, paid by the management account. A major benefit is the aggregation of usage, which can lead to better volume discounts for services like S3 or EC2, resulting in cost savings. Question 4. A mobile application needs to allow users to sign up, sign in with their email and password, and also authenticate using their existing Google accounts. After successful authentication, these users need temporary, limited privilege access to upload files directly to an S3 bucket. Which two Cognito components should be primarily used to achieve this functionality? Option A. AWS IAM users and IAM roles. Option B. Cognito user pools for authentication and Cognito identity pools for authorization to AWS resources. Option C. Cognito identity pools for authentication and AWS directory service for authorization. Option D. AWS Lambda for authentication and Amazon S3 pre-signed URLs for uploads. The correct answer is Cognito user pools for authentication and Cognito identity pools for authorization to AWS resources. Here's the explanation. Cognito user pools handle user registration, sign up, sign in, including social providers like Google, and issue JWTs, Cognito identity pools, federated identities. Then take these identity tokens and exchange them for temporary, limited privilege AWS credentials, allowing the application users to directly access AWS services like S3. Question 5. After a user successfully authenticates using a Cognito user pool, what does a Cognito identity pool primarily provide to the application? Option A. Long-lived IAM user credentials for permanent access. Option B. JSON Web Tokens, JWTs, ID, access, and refresh tokens. Option C. Temporary, limited privilege AWS credentials, access key ID, secret access key session token. Option D. A managed directory service for enterprise users. The correct answer is temporary, limited privilege AWS credentials, access key ID, secret access key session token. Here's the explanation. Cognito identity pools, federated identities, are responsible for exchanging identity tokens, like the ID token from a user pool, for temporary AWS credentials. These credentials are then used by the application to directly access other AWS services with specific, limited permissions defined by IAM roles. Question 6. A developer wants to implement custom logic during the user registration process in their Cognito user pool, such as validating a user's email domain against a whitelist before allowing them to sign up. Which Cognito feature would enable this customization? Option A. Identity pool unauthenticated identities. Option B. Custom authentication flows using AWS Lambda triggers. Option C. Multi-factor authentication, MFA, settings. Option D. The hosted UI's default configuration. The correct answer is custom authentication flows using AWS Lambda triggers. Here's the explanation. Cognito user pools support AWS Lambda triggers at various stages of the authentication and user management lifecycle, such as pre-sign-up. This allows developers to inject custom logic, like email domain validation, into the standard Cognito flows. Question 7. A security architect wants to ensure that the primary encryption keys, CMKs, never leave the secure boundary of AWS KMS and are protected by FIPS 140-2 validated hardware. However, the application needs to encrypt and decrypt large amounts of data efficiently. Which KMS operational pattern addresses these requirements? Option A. Direct encryption of all data using the CMK within KMS. Option B. Client-side encryption with keys managed entirely by the application. Option C. Envelope encryption, where data keys are generated and encrypted by the CMK within KMS, and then used by the application. Option D. Storing plaintext CMKs in an S3 bucket for quick access by the application. The correct answer is envelope encryption, where data keys are generated and encrypted by the CMK within KMS, and then used by the application. Here's the explanation. Envelope encryption is the most common and recommended operational pattern. It allows the CMK to remain securely within KMS, never leaving the HSMs, while data keys, generated and encrypted by the CMK, are used by the application for efficient bulk encryption/decryption of data outside of KMS. Question 8. Which type of customer master key, CMK, in AWS KMS provides you with full control over its key policy, aliases, and allows for manual key rotation if desired, for asymmetric imported keys, or automatic rotation for symmetric keys. Option A, AWS-owned CMK. Option B, AWS-managed CMK. Option C, customer-managed CMKs. Option D, service-linked CMKs. The correct answer is customer-managed CMKs. Here's the explanation. Customer-managed CMKs are created, owned, and managed by you. You have full control over their key policies, aliases, and can configure automatic rotation for symmetric keys or perform manual rotation for asymmetric imported keys. Question 9. What is the fundamental difference in control and management between AWS KMS and AWS Cloud HSM? Option A, KMS provides dedicated, single-tenant HSMs, while Cloud HSM is a multi-tenant service. Option B, KMS is a fully managed service where AWS manages the HSMs, whereas Cloud HSM gives you exclusive control over dedicated HSMs. Option C, KMS supports only symmetric keys, while Cloud HSM supports only asymmetric keys. Option D, KMS logs all key usage to CloudTrail, but Cloud HSM does not. The correct answer is KMS is a fully managed service where AWS manages the HSMs, whereas Cloud HSM gives you exclusive control over dedicated HSMs. Here's the explanation. AWS KMS is a fully managed, multi-tenant service where AWS manages the underlying HSMs for you. AWS Cloud HSM provides dedicated, single-tenant HSMs, giving you exclusive control over the HSMs, including direct key management and OS access, which is suitable for stringent compliance requirements. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.